First story is titled, Am I the a-hole for embarrassing my stepmother at my wedding? I, 27 female, lost my mom on my first day of school. My dad remarried 3 years later to Jane. Jane could never have children of her own, so she, as well as my dad, thought that her marrying a man with a child so young would mean she would eventually become a mom. I admit that I have not allowed that to happen. Even at a young age, I did not want another mom, and so I put a wall between me and Jane because I never felt like there was a middle ground to make us happy. We have been through therapy, a bonding camp, which sucked by the way, and I would never recommend them, and a lot of serious conversations between the three of us. When I was 17, her efforts kind of ended because I invited my aunt, mom's sister, shopping for prom, and she was upset that it wasn't just for us. I got married 2 years ago. My fiancé's parents and my dad and stepmother were all giving speeches. Fiancé and I gave ours first. Fiancé talked about our future together and how he wished his brother had been there. He lost his brother 6 years ago. And then I talked about our future together and the sadness of hitting the milestone without my mom, but how much she would have loved my fiancé and would have been so proud to welcome him to the family. During my stepmother's speech, she went into a very heartfelt message about being a mom to me, etc. She talked about the joy I brought to her life and the fact she was proud to call me her daughter. It seems that it stuck out to everyone that I call her Jane during my speech when touching on her and my dad, and that I wasn't as loving toward her in mind that I was to my parents. Then back in October, when my wedding video was finally put up by the photography company, she told me I had humiliated her on my wedding day, and how it was a slap in the face for the video to be online for all the world to see. She told me that when I invited her to give a speech along with the other parents, that I had finally embraced her in a way I hadn't before. And to sit through my speech, where I didn't give her as much love as my dead mom when she had written her so lovingly, it made her want to run away and cry. I told her I was sorry to have made her feel that way, but she continued to bring it up. My dad then got involved, and he told me to fix things. I could always make a post to her next Mother's Day, giving her the love she deserves for everyone to see. It turned into a fight. Then at Christmas, when my mother-in-law posted what a beautiful speech it was and how she knew my mom would have been so proud of me, after that post was made, Jane told me I needed to apologize and to make amends for embarrassing her like that. I might normally do it just to save a fight, but I don't know where she thought we had gotten closer. I included her to be polite and respectful, and I have tried to be that more as I have gotten older. But I still don't feel anywhere close to the same as she does about me or how she wants me to feel about her. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. She set herself up for embarrassment when she lied about the relationship she had with you. From your story, she knew well enough you did not see her as your mother, but she chose to write it anyway. The read I'm getting is that, by asking her if she wanted to do a speech, she took it was being treated as one of the parents, and thus I had accepted her as more. But if I hadn't asked her, they would have considered it cruel to snub her. So it looks like either way, I set to lose. Giving her that one kindness does not retroactively make your relationship one between a mother and daughter. Perhaps if her speech was about how you are beginning to accept her / relationship still growing, instead of an implication that you always saw her as mom. No a-holes here. I actually feel badly for her. Sounds like she really tried / wanted to be a good stepmom to you. It must have been very hard to live day in and day out with a stepkid who put up walls and never accepted or really liked her. And sounds like she was so excited when she thought about her asking to give a speech was a sign of your acceptance of her, which is actually kind of sad in itself. And she's just very hurt and has unleashed like 2 decades of feeling hurt. That said, you were a traumatized little girl, so I don't blame you. And your speeches were fine. I feel the exact same. Trying to establish a relationship with someone for 20 years and getting no reciprocation must be hard. She wanted to be a mom. I know this is where the whole thing comes from. She was unable to have children, and so when she married a widower with a young child, she thought it would be her chance. She could finally be a mom after years of wanting it, and I'm sure another kid would have loved that someone wanted to be their mom and consider them her kids. I wasn't that kid though. My dad was the man for her, but I was not the kid for her. And I don't really blame her for wanting it. But I will never be the person to give it to her, and I don't think she will ever be able to truly not want that mother/daughter relationship. Not a a-hole. I hate step-parents that think they can just replace kids' actual parents regardless of what the child wants. I'm sorry for your loss, OP. Your dad is the a-hole for letting another woman try to replace your mom. I understand it sucks not to be able to have children, but that doesn't give your stepmom the right to waltz in and try and make you play a perfect family and forget your mom. She's also a major a-hole for complaining about you missing your dead mom at your wedding. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my husband and his family to suck it up when they complained about my daughter's wedding? I won't complicate this. I have a daughter, Kara, who is not my biological daughter, nor was she my legal daughter until she reached the age of 18 when she asked me to adopt her as an adult. I married my husband when she was 14 and together we have 2 children. Kara gets along okay with my husband, but admittedly, her upbringing means she was maybe not as able to bond with a father figure as she was with a mother figure, and her age was also a factor. Regardless, everyone gets along, and I think that is the best you expect when you have someone who went through as much as she did at a young age. Kara is engaged and came to me recently and told me she would like to walk with me down the aisle and do a dance with me while her fiancé dances with his mom. She told me she didn't know how to ask for that without hurting my husband. I told her he would understand and I would be honored to do it. I did not expect my husband and his parents to take offense. They believe she snubbed my husband and is making it seem like he's nothing. After listening to them complain about this for 10 minutes, I told them to suck it up and accept that she asked me, her mom, to do both of those parts of the wedding and that I was proud to do it. I dared them to tell me I was less deserving than my husband. My husband and his parents believe I wasn't very understanding and downright rude, according to my mother-in-law. Am I the a-hole? So to clarify for people because I was not clear, my husband is not her father. He is her stepfather through me. I was married before and she was my stepdaughter who I ended up with custody of, but never legally adopted as a minor because her biological mother was alive. She has trauma relating to father figures, 2 prior ones to be exact, so she has never really considered my husband as such. But their relationship has been good considering everything she has been through. I did adopt her when she turned 18. Not my husband, just me. Now for the top comments. Not an a-hole. You're doing everything right, and I think it's lovely that she wanted you to walk her down the aisle. It's a testament to your relationship with her. It seems clear to me why she wouldn't want him. He doesn't behave as a parent, so why would he stand in as her father? Not an a-hole. Congratulations. So excited for you. Of course you're not. It's her wedding. There's no snubbing. She wants you. Period. Kara is engaged and came to me recently and told me she would like to walk with me down the aisle and do a dance with me while her fiancé dances with his mom. Not an a-hole. This is beautiful. Good job, Mom. Not an a-hole. What a pity party. Call the ambulance. Lol. Reminds me of Lily from Modern Family. Not an a-hole. Info. Did you just adopt her or did you and your husband both adopt her? Not that it makes a difference. I'm just curious. Bottom line is, she can ask whomever she wants to walk her down the aisle. It's no one else's damn business. When it's their wedding, they can be in charge of it. Just me. Next story. Am I the a-hole for spending my dad's money on a trip with my aunt instead of stepmom? A light insight. I, 17 female, lost my mom this year, early April. My parents divorced when I was really young, but I've kept in touch over the years with my dad to ask for financial help with the schools, trips, etc. Other than that, he told both my mom and I not to keep in touch unless necessary. Ever since my mom's passing, I've been living with my dad. I don't know the details, but my mom and dad never had a friendly relationship, and I could tell my dad really didn't like her. But to me, she was my single working mom, and I really miss her. My dad's new wife, my stepmom, is okay, but she acts a bit tense around me and tries too hard. I don't think she likes my mom either, since she tells me to stop when I talk about her. I feel like my dad is pushing for us to get close, but I don't see that happening since I barely know either of them well enough. Plus, I'll always only have one mom. Here's where the problem starts. Back when I used to live with my mom, she used to work tons of shifts, get barely any rest, and work her damn hardest for me. I wanted to surprise her with a surprise vacation or a small trip for her to relax, but we couldn't afford it, so I started asking my dad for money every few weeks, saying I needed it for extracurricular courses. When I finally had enough, my mom passed away and I started living with dad and stepwife. I still had the trip money left over, so I called in my aunt, mom's sister, to come with me for the trip. I don't know how, but my dad found out about the money I've collected and got really angry, but said he'd forgive me if I went on the trip with stepmom. Obviously it didn't, and left with my aunt when he was away at work. My aunt and I had a blast on our small road trip, stayed at a motel, and basically just toured around in big wide open spaces. As a city child, I had a lot of fun in the countryside. When I came back, Dad was really mad and took away all my devices and grounded me, calling me an a-hole for not choosing to go with stepmom and using his money like a thief. I know what I did was lying about my courses and taking his money was wrong, but was it wrong of me to go with my aunt? She really reminds me of my mom, and I missed her so much. My dad, his wife, and extended family found out and are calling me a petty thief and a liar. My stepmom has started ignoring me in the house too, and everyone keeps telling me to apologize. But I don't see where I did wrong with going with my aunt who I feel closer to. Now for the top comments. Not a day-haul. While the way you went about getting the money to finance the trip was not exactly kosher, you had every right to decide who to take with you. You chose to take someone you know and love, someone who is a close connection to your mother. The fact that you aren't close with your father/stepmother is their own fault. He was the one who chose to only support you financially and not emotionally, so he has only himself to blame. Is there a way for you to get out of their house? Could you live with your aunt? They're emotionally abusing and isolating you because you didn't cower to their demands, and that is not okay. It could get worse. I'm so sorry for your loss. Thank you. I want to get out too, but I don't think my dad will allow it. Plus, my aunt is struggling financially, so I don't want to be a burden on her. I plan to move out and become independent when I can, though. Not day-haul because you are a kid and just lost your mother and have been forced to live with people who are practically strangers. I'm appalled the adults in your life are not giving you some grace for that fact. Listen, it was wrong to lie about the extracurricular stuff. I know that, you know that. But your heart was in the right place. And where else would you go for the money? And most importantly, you're a kid. A kid who wanted to help her mom. So was it a dumb choice? Yes, it was. Does it make you an a-hole? Not at all. Your dad, on the other hand, is a huge and massive a-hole. He clearly neglected you your whole life. Don't keep in touch unless necessary. What the hell is that? Even now that you're living with him, that does not make him some hero all of a sudden, since he's basically emotionally neglecting you now. You just lost your mom, and since you're living with him and not someone else, she was likely everything to you. And he is being extremely immature and selfish about this trip and the money. If he was a real parent, he'd understand and try to help you. And the stepmom is no better, ignoring you because you did not go on a trip with her? A grieving kid who just lost her mom. These people are so selfish and can't get their heads out of their own ass to act like a family. I know you're not asking for advice, but is there any way you can stay with your aunt? Everyone sucks here. Your dad sounds a little bit authoritarian, so good luck. But you shouldn't have lied about the reason why you need the money, and his reasoning probably is that he gave you money for a specific reason, and he can determine what that reason is now since you lied about it. He could have even told you to give the money back. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not allowing my girlfriend's daughter in my car or my son's? My girlfriend, Sally, and I live together with our teenage children, Dan and Grace. Both kids are 16, with about a month separating their ages. Dan is my biological child, and while Grace and I have a decent relationship and I love her, her father is definitely still in her life, so I can't say I've had a fatherly role. Sally and I split the cost of living by percentages as I make more, and though we've been together 5 years, we have no plans to wed or coming for finances. I hope that's enough backstory. If it's not, please ask for info, and I'll do my best to answer. This past year, both teens were due to get their license and take a big step forward in their lives. The issue came from my opinion being that Grace wasn't ready for that responsibility. I felt Grace would call her safety or other safety into question on the road. I only shared this with her mother in private at first. However, her mother asked that I share my concerns with everyone, so I did. It caused some headaches and accusations. However, I based it on Grace's daily life and not on a comparison to Dan. Grace is a smart child. but lacks an attention span, ignores her chores, and struggles in school. Yes, she's been tested for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and other things, and has been caught sneaking out at night. Ultimately, it didn't matter and Grace was able to get her license. Well, 3 weeks into having her license, Grace has totaled her mother's car by hitting a telephone pole while texting a friend. Grace is still bruised from it, but is otherwise healthy, and asking to use mine or my son's car, which I have shut down 100%. My ex and I bought my son his car, and while it's nothing fancy, it's his. I'm now being accused of playing favorites, being sexist, and rubbing my income into their faces due to Dan having his own car. It's escalated, and I've told Sally I don't feel comfortable with Grace driving as I think she's going to hurt someone or herself again. Am I the a-hole here? I understand getting your license is a big deal, but if you're not ready, right? I didn't compare the kids to one another. I'm just judging each for their actions. Where did I go wrong? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I think only one fact about Grace is relevant here. She totaled a car texting while driving. Yes, you saw it coming. Yes, she only had her license 3 weeks when it happened, but those facts are irrelevant. Anyone who loans a car to someone who just totaled a car by texting and driving is just asking to have their car totaled. It would be beyond idiotic to let her drive a car you're financially responsible for. Why would anyone, especially her parents, want her back out on the road? Do they want her to get hurt or kill someone? I literally don't understand how her actual parents just don't seem to give a damn about her health. Not a-hole. Ask Sally how wanting her daughter alive is playing favorites or being sexist. Great response. Not a-hole. She was texting and driving. She crashed. She shouldn't be allowed to drive until she buys her own car. It sounds simple enough to me. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.